Great. Thanks. Thank you. All right. So let's kick it off. Our Adobe user group. We are going to be kicking it off. So let's go ahead and start with some housekeeping rules. All right. So if you've been to one of these, or if it's your first time, we cover this in every one of our meetings. Here are some of our house rules that we have for our Marketo Engage user group. So to ensure that we're staying focused and creating a safe space for all of the members here in Marketing Nation, we want to make sure that we follow some of these rules. One is no self-promotion or pitching of any kind is permitted in any mug events. Please do not contact people outside of the user group without their permission or consent, which is fine. So make sure you ask first. And if there's going to be some use cases that are shared by MUG members in the user group, please don't share that information without their consent and permission. This meeting is being recorded. So to ensure that we're abiding by the MUG Code of Conduct, we are informing that all user group attendees at this deep dive MUG meeting on today, April 25th, that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on our MUG YouTube channel to promote training and education for future learning. So if you wish not to participate in the live recording session, you can, you can feel free to watch later. You can log off. We are going to be sending the recording, but we'll also be posting it on our YouTube channel. And then lastly, make sure you stay connected to with our chapter. So sign up for Bevy. So it's a new tool for Adobe Marketo Engage user groups. So on it, if you want to copy the link really fast, but again, we will be sharing these slides over on our YouTube channel as well, the recording. You can navigate to the link and then create an account using your email associated with your Marketo account. And then once you've joined the chapter, you'll receive notifications and reminders of new events that the chapter will be hosting and posting. So we're going to kick it off with our presenters today. I will pass the ball over to AJ to introduce himself and give a little background.
Thank you so much. And yeah, appreciate everyone joining it. It is extremely encouraging to know that we have 300 plus registrations for this specific session. And my name is Ajay Sarpal. I'm the founder and CEO of Unicorn Martech. I have done multiple certification on Marketo. I'm Marketo certified architect as well. And yeah, I'm 6 times subject matter expert on Marketo and 6 times Adobe's Marketo Engage champion. And being a 4 time certified on Salesforce, I'm very passionate about today's topic. I'm certified Salesforce admin, Sales Cloud consultant, app builder, and AI associate. So yeah, with that, I'm super excited to present this session with Mr. Izvi along with Mirai. So yeah, Mirai, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, AJ. I am Mirai Wu. I'm a senior marketing corporation at Qualcomm. It's very great to be here today and presenting with AJ, and like it's great. So and Atar, do you wanna quick go?
Sure. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Athar Rizvi. I'm a senior product manager for Marketer Core. I am involved primarily in customer retention, performance tiers, CRM sync integration, core features that are requested by customers, manage our backlog. So, yeah, that's what I do. Um, Nice to be here and pleasure to provide any input to this user group on any of the functionality that we have through Marketo.
Awesome. So Mirai, over to you for the next slides.
Thank you. Yeah, today, this is our outline today. We're gonna talk about like what is the sync backlog is between the Salesforce and marketer, and then we're gonna give some of the how we can monitor those, uh, go through the metrics, like to go through some best practices, key takeaways, and we're gonna share some what's coming soon for the whole like the Salesforce marketer sync updates, and we're gonna finish with the QA. Um, can we go to next slide, please? Okay, let's start it with what is the sync backlog. I'm pretty sure we all faced some sync issues between Salesforce and Marketer, especially if you are using the Salesforce and Marketer for a long time, either like the very minimal or very big based on like the certain like the criteria. You definitely see some like the sync backlog sync issues, and this could be very frustrating. So again, depending on how big the issue is, it can affect all your sales and like the marketing like the teams, and it's gonna be like kind of a domino effect for everyone. So what is the sync backlogs? The sync backlog refers to records the pending sync between the Salesforce and marketer in both direction. This backlog include like leads, contacts, or other relevant data that need to be updated. The the sync backlog includes the updates made in either Salesforce or marketer engaged that are queued for a regular like the sync cycle. This means any change happen in the lead information, like contact details or campaign status, are going to be wait to be synced. So what's excluded from this sync? Like if you are using the flow step to sync leads to the Salesforce, this is not gonna like impact any backlog. That's like those records gonna sync immediately. But the backlog caused, that's what we call like the regular sync, like every 5 minutes sync, that was like the sync will be causing the backlogs. Our goal is to try to keep backlog control. We might not able to get to backlog totally be reduced, like we probably gonna see backlog, but the goal is to keep the backlog control and manageable, to understand to like the health of our database and then the health of the like the sync. It's important. Next slide, please. Okay, what causes the backlog? Like we try to put here is like the four main items, but these are really work together. Like these all like the causing the backlog. Like you can go through all of them at the same time. So the primary cause of the sync backlog is updates made in records, either in Market or Salesforce, as I mentioned. Any changes to record, whether it's a lead, contact, or any other data point, trigger the sync process. So understanding the Salesforce mechanism is very important to like understand the backlog, because the in Salesforce updates records generate a system modification timestamp. That timestamp make the records the queuing and updated for orderly manner. So if you have a very large volume, like the very large database update, like the data load or like the list import, or you updated like the one field across the too many records at the same time, that timestamp's gonna be simultaneously created, and it will try like system try to update everything at the same time, which cause either temporarily or even prolonged backlogs because the our system tried to updates everything at once. So those are the reason that we start to seeing a backlog in our sync between Marketer and Salesforce. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. So how we can control to backlog. So monitoring is very important. So that's why we call why monitoring matters. Like how we can monitor, like what the monitoring gives us is it provides us visibility, timeliness, efficiency, and proactive management. Like visibility is when you start to monitoring your backlog, you can understand to like the health and performance of your Salesforce and marketer connection. This helps us to identify any issues early, and we can take some kind of correction or some kind of change in our system. And also, the reason that it's very important to we don't want to see the backlog, or we want to reduce the backlog, because it is critical to put the up-to-date data in the Salesforce as soon as possible. So if we have a very large backlog, you might not able to update your records in timely manner. So that's very critical to understand that it's Salesforce and Marketo alignments important for when it comes to update. And efficiency is another major benefit. So monitoring helps us identify bottleneck and resources drains that can affect the sync speed. By pinpointing these issues, we can optimize our process and reduce the time it takes to sync data. And finally, the proactive management. By regular monitoring the sync backlog, we can catch potential issues such as growing backlog or before it's impacted our operation. This allows us to take a preventative measure and avoid the major disruption. So monitoring is good, but how we can monitor the backlog? Next slide, please. We have recent updates. Like beginning of this year, we had some updates made in our all the seeded sync backlog trends in Salesforce. In order to able to see this in your Marketo, you're gonna log into Marketo, go to the admin section, and under the integration on the left-hand side, you can see the Salesforce. When you click the Salesforce, you can see the right side. There is a bunch of the tabs on the top, like the sync backlog trend, sync through the backlog, and those are the tabs that you can to see a different view of the metrics. Let's talk about right now a little bit about those metrics. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, perfect. This is the first step, the sync backlog trend. And as I mentioned, this is a pretty brand new view for everyone. It's been released, if I'm correct, beginning of this year. And this graphic is actually gives you the whole last 5 days trend, the overall backlog trend across all sync objects. It's the how the data collected is it's every 6 hours, and meaning that 6 intervals in a day and total 30 intervals data collected. And it shows the total number of the records from Salesforce to Marketo or Marketo to Salesforce sync, waiting to sync at specific point in over the last 5 days. Why it's important to look at for this graphic is it's easily identifying a pattern or spike in the backlog volume. So if you're looking for one time, it may not gonna make sense. But when you start to looking for the daily or even weekly, you can easily identify when is gonna be backlog happening. Is there anything happen at specific those days, or when is the backlog is very low? So you might gonna even identify if you have taken any action like a list import, you can pick up that day to make sure that you don't see a big backlog. The next slide, please. The second tab for the admin section you can see is sync throughout backlog trend. This is another version of to view and understand the backlog. This view is give you to last 24 hours detailed performance and backlog status for each sync object type, such as lead, contact, account, opportunity, campaign, user, and custom object. It's refreshed every 15 minutes, and you can also manually refresh. It's available, and the backlog stats patch hourly. If you look at on the blue bar, you can see a bunch of fields, and you can to understand those backlogs. We provided if you AJ, if you go to next slide, please. Okay, this is the actually the fields on the blue, like the blue bar that you see, and the definition. If you if you use it before, you probably familiar with those fields. But if you never use that, like the view of the sync backlog, it's a great place to start. First of all, understand what is the description, what we're looking for. Like this, the view, it's give you the maximum record sync, like the collected last 24 hour, but to like show the last 1 hour. What is the sync backlog, like estimated backlog, and then when is the backlog last fetch or the next fetch. But for me, the backlog status is very important. And if it's not too much work, can you go back, and I want to show something on the that screen. So if you when how I'm using this view, and you don't really spend a lot of time, and especially if you have an issue for the backlog, you can check daily. And on the very right side, it shows the backlog status is a color coding, and it shows you like either the backlog growing or normal, and it's easily catch. Like once you turn it on, if everything's black, meaning that everything's normal, you can right away close it. And if you see something like the orange, which is growing, then you might gonna start to looking for like what's going on, and like to dig a little bit deeper. uh I think that's it. Can you go to next slide? Yep. And now it's the best practices, and AJ gonna cover the best practices.
Thank you so much, Mirai. All were very great insights. And I just want to share a few experiences of mine. So I joined a startup. And there, the first problem they were facing, that whatever it used to get created on Salesforce, it used to take 48 hours to reflect in Marketo. And the same, if there are any lists that we are uploading it in Marketo, then it used to take the similar amount of time to get added to the Salesforce campaign. And back then, and I'm talking about almost 9 years back, there was no visibility for us to find it out what is causing that, which specific Salesforce object is actually creating issues or causing a bulk update. So at that time, we used to rely on Salesforce, oh, sorry, not Salesforce, but Marketer support to give us these valuable insights to find it out that which specific object of Salesforce is actually creating backlog and how to prevent that. But with these two new dashboards, which Mirai just walked you all through, gives you this visibility to each Marketo admin user. And I just want to say that this view is only applicable for admin users as of now. um, so you have the visibility to see which object within the Salesforce is causing bulk updates or getting updated regularly or creating that backlog. Then once you have that data available, you can always go and work with your Salesforce admin and tell, hey, this is the object of Salesforce which is actually creating regular updates. How should we fix it? So maybe they can find it out a easy way around that. There is a specific field which is causing a regular update, and then they can have that fixed. But yeah, gone are those days, and I'm talking about 8 or 9 years back, when it was a bit of sort of hitting in a dark spot, just to find it out if there are sync delays, and we had to rely on Marketo support to find that out. And it brings more accountability and transparency as well, because now it is easy to find it out that which specific Salesforce object is creating that issue, rather than Salesforce admins blaming Marketo that, oh, you guys are creating the mess, and you are sending so many records that is causing the issue. So this is where I really like about this tool. And I will now go on with the best practices for managing sync backlogs. So just the best practices, whenever we are syncing Marketo with Salesforce for the first time, these are the same best practices which we need to follow. The first one, which is the most important best practice, is that limit field visibility. Sync only those fields which are necessary for marketing. Don't sync everything. And hide unnecessary fields from Marketo sync user profile in Salesforce. uh, Update to hidden fields result in a faster skip rather than a full sync update. So yeah, so that is the best part. Sync only those fields which are important. And of course, for this you need to coordinate with your Salesforce admin. And you can also hide and filter unnecessary records, and there are two ways of doing it. So the first one is that you could create Salesforce visibility rule for the sync user, because if the sync user can't see it, and with sync I mean Salesforce and Marketo sync user on Salesforce. So if the sync user can't see it, it won't sync. And the second thing is you can actually create a custom sync filter from Marketo support for criteria based filtering. So you can have a field, let it be on Marketo or Salesforce, and based on that, whenever that field gets checked on, so it is like do not sync with Marketo. So whenever that field gets checked on, Salesforce will not sync that specific record to Marketo. There are many pros and cons with that. The It is great in cost saving, because you're only saving you're only paying for those records for which you are actually sending them an email. But in the long run, it can create duplicates, because let's assume if Ajay Sarpal is already there in Salesforce and somehow I opted out, or maybe there were multiple reasons for which there is no need for me to send an email, and I have been blocked from the custom sync filter on Salesforce. But I visit the website, now I'm no longer visible in for Marketo to Salesforce. Whenever I'm going to fill out the form, Marketo is going to create a duplicate record of mine, and when the record gets synced to Salesforce, it is going to create a duplicate record. And then there are different workaround, but those are on Salesforce. Like you need to create a workflow, as in when there is a duplicate record created based on the email address, just merge those. But yeah, custom sync filter is great, but just you need to keep one thing in mind, that you need to create a workflow on Salesforce side so that it is not causing the duplicates. And third one, which is the most important thing, and this is the advice that I really give it to my all clients: if something is not important, or some job or some mass updates which are not critical to run in the business hours, just schedule those large data updates or processing during off peak times or during the weekends, so that it is not causing any sync updates, so that any of your important lead or type A MQL, type A means the hand raiser MQL, who has filled out the contact us form, is just getting updated through all the systems seamlessly without causing any sync issues. And yeah, there are other best practices as well, that it is always good that once in every 3 months you are checking and auditing the fields, and you're also reviewing the frequently fields which are getting updated. So you need to identify those fields which are prone to constant changes. Not all, only a few formula fields which are causing these system mod stamp updates on Salesforce. We need to check for those formula fields, and we need to also look for certain currency fields where, because as and when currency gets updates, all the values which are using those currency fields, all the fields which are using those currency field type get updated instantly. So we need to just find it out, that which fields are getting updated regularly, and it is pretty easy for a Salesforce admin to actually find that out, how many fields are getting updated by workflow. And these are all which we can get it through Salesforce log. As a Salesforce admin, I know it is pretty easy to find these fields which are getting updated either by manually or by data change request or by Apex trigger or by workflows. And the fifth one, it is very important, always review custom objects. So we all are aware that Marketo can sync the custom objects of Salesforce. And which are custom objects of Salesforce? So Salesforce has everything categorized in two objects. One is standard objects. Standard objects are lead, contact, account, opportunities. And then we have custom objects, and these custom objects are built to support the sales processes. There are at times a need to use those custom objects from Salesforce in Marketo to send out the emails. And what could be the use cases here? So the use cases would be, so let's assume you are a car manufacturer, and I'm just making this up. Your company is a car manufacturer. You have an opportunity, but you are storing the model name of the car in the custom object. So you have the model name, you have the model make, you have a different engine. All these values you are storing in a different object, that is the custom object, not in the opportunity object of Salesforce, but you want to send out an email, uh, using that custom object. So you could use velocity script to send out an email through Marketo using the custom object of Salesforce, provided it is syncing. But periodically you need to audit whether it is seriously needed to sync any custom object or not, because even that can cause sync delays. You need to also review sync activities, and now the question is, what are the sync activities? So if you go to the admin side of Marketo, there are many activities that happens on Marketo's side. You can actually sync those to Salesforce. Those are like whenever someone fills out a form, whenever someone opens an email or clicks a link within the body of the email, whenever someone gets added to a static list within Marketo, you have the ability to sync all these marketing activities back to Salesforce. And you can actually review these sync activities as well. These sync only these activities sync only once per day per lead, but still, if we are, let's assume if we are sending out a mass email, and I'm just making this up, to 500,000 records, and yes, there is a client of mine who sends that much volume, and just think about it, how much sync issue it is going to create when we have these activities activated on Marketo site to log it on Salesforce. So we need to remove unnecessary activity sync to avoid the sync log. And we need to address sync error. This is the most important thing. And what are these sync errors? These are the sync errors which happens when we are trying to sync a record from Marketo to Salesforce. There are mainly four types of issues which everyone faces, although there are multiple issues, but mainly other issues happen rarely. So the four type of these issues are, one is deduplication rule. At times the Salesforce admin, in order to keep the data clean and follow the best practices of data hygiene, they implement deduplication rule on lead, contact, and account objects. Although account object deduplication rule will not cause any issues here, but if we have any deduplication rule in contact and lead object, that can create a sync issue with Marketo. And those deduplication rules are bit different than Marketo, because Marketo would usually, the standard out of the box Marketo's deduplication functionality only duplicate records based on the email addresses, whereas in Salesforce you could create a deduplication rule like, if the first name, last name, and the company name matches, just don't create that record, flag that as a duplicate. And now think about it, this specific rule is great when we are dealing with the smaller organization, but think about a larger organization like IBM. There could be many people who would be having the similar first name and last name and the same organization name. So Salesforce can can flag these contacts as potential duplicates, and these records will not be allowed to sync. What is the another type of error? Those are mainly a validation rule. So if we have a validation rule within Salesforce, that means that if one field's value uh, is something, then the corresponding field's value should be updated. So the best case would be if the lead status is unqualified or disqualified, then the disqualification reason should be populated. If these kind of field dependencies are not being taken care of, Marketers record are not going to get synced with Salesforce. And then we have important fields which are necessary or which are actually important and by the Salesforce admin, or enforced by the Salesforce admin, that these fields are highly important in order for us to create the records in Salesforce. If those fields are not there when we are either importing the records or syncing the records from Marketo to Salesforce, that record will not get updated. And the fourth one is when there is a pick list value and restricted pick list value, and we are not using that in Marketo. So let's assume a possible scenario would be for countries. If in Salesforce we have defined the pick list value for United States as just US, if in Marketo we have country as United States, it will not sync, it will throw an error. So we need to ensure that we are finding out the sync errors and we are fixing the root cause of these sync errors. Most of the time these are the four potential sync errors that we get to see. There are others, but those happen rarely. And yeah, but if we could address these four sync errors, then most of the things we could easily get covered. And when the best practices aren't enough, please contact support, because support has the ability to double down to double your sync speed of various objects, and they can really make things get very fast. But yeah, if nothing is working, and there is a very big sync log and that you could see, and you feel that it is going to take a week to get cleared, please reach out to support, and they are going to increase the sync speed for you, and for few days. And then you can actually get these sync issues fixed. Key takeaways and next steps. So as I said, that monitor Salesforce sync backlog. It is crucial for the timeliness and system health. And like Mariah explained, Marketo provides the in-app tools for visibility. Please go through those tools and see the pattern and understand which object of Salesforce is actually creating the issue. And backlogs are often caused by bulk updates. This is the most important thing that we need to we need to keep a close eye on, and then we need to check which object and which field in Salesforce is getting updated every time. Those could be certain formula fields, not all, only those formula fields which are actually logging the system mod stamp, or those fields which are regularly getting updated by Apex Trigger, or if there are currency fields which are getting updated because of the whenever currency value changes, and we all know currency value changes every second. So we need to identify those, and then we just need to ensure whether those fields are really important for us to sync or not, and proactive manage the error handling, limiting data scheduling. These are the keys. And the next step, you should review the new dashboard. Regular review your sync dashboard is the key. Collaborate with Salesforce admin to review sync user visibility and field usage. This is something that I must say that if you are working with an enterprise company or enterprise client, do that once in every 3 months, and always audit the synced object fields and activities, just to ensure you're not syncing those objects between Marketo and Salesforce which are no longer needed. And monitor and resolve the sync error promptly. And yes, this is our one backlog trend, which I would say that the chart of the newly available dashboards which you should monitor. With that, over to author for his insights on the coming soon functionalities, or the future functionalities or modules of Salesforce and Marketo Sync. Arthur, over to you.
Hey everyone. So let's go to the next slide. So some of the new features that we're coming out with is we have Salesforce, basically self-service dashboards that we are implementing for activity usage. So let me start by explaining what activities are, and I think Ajay also touched upon it as well in his presentation portion. So an activity is any kind of follow-on action that is taken by a user on a marketing event, such as you're doing an email for a campaign. So if a customer clicks on an email, that's an activity. If they open a link, click on a link, for a landing page, that is an activity. If they fill out a form and hit submit, that is an activity. So there are user-based activities, and there are system level activities as well. So if you have a campaign with a flow action, as Ajay pointed out in his example, there's one of those flow actions is send to Salesforce or update Salesforce, that lead or whatever object, then that is also a system level activity. So all of these activities are counted over on a weekly basis over a 52-week period, and then displayed at an average weekly activity count. So why this is important is because if you are experiencing slowness or performance issues, you can look at these self-service dashboards and you can see how much activity that is happening, how much of these activity types are related to Salesforce, and so on and so forth. So if you wanted to optimize your system to adjust the amount of activities being updated or created. You can do that to improve performance, or if you think that you're at a point where you are you're using a lot of doing a lot of marketing and you need to grow or scale upwards, you can also do that. And the reason why this is important is because the the level of package that you're on today has the related bandwidth or the relevant bandwidth to support those numbers. And those numbers are indicated in the product description page that we have under scoping parameters. So if you're wondering why is my activity count so high and my system is so slow, because the infrastructure is designed to move a certain level of performance for the package that you're on. And if you're going over that limit, then we would need to assign more performance capabilities to manage that backlog or that activity usage. So yeah, that is helpful. So one of the things that we're doing now is that we're building that self-service dashboard. This should probably come out in sometime in August, September timeframe, where it will show you what is coming out, or what is your activity usage over a 52-week period. You can click on a bar graph. It's a bar graph, a vertical bar graph, exactly like that. And one of those purple bars, you can click on those, and you can see exactly what the activity count is for that particular week. And you can see the peaks and valleys of that 52-week period, and you can say, well, we're doing a lot this week, or we have a lot of activity volume or campaign volume coming up. We want to space it out over a longer period of time. So you can plan your campaigns around your growth as well, and manage the peaks if you want to slow it down, or if you want to space it out as through its small intervals as well. I know sometimes it is not always manageable because you want to create these campaigns at critical times. Like, for example, we have a lot of peaks happening for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, back to school type of those type of campaigns. So sometimes it's unavoidable, but it's a good visible tool to help you see and manage your backlog. And then you can look at those activity types, and then you can scale them down to say, okay, maybe we don't need to do that much, like background syncs, or send to Salesforce, update any other kind of applications behind the scenes through your total activity count. So this is the first step. You will be able to see this, and the next step that we are building out in terms of self-service dashboards is exactly that, to see what your activity counts are. So one of the activity types that show a lot of this is called change data value activity types. So when you click into dig deeper into a change data value, those are all the updates that happen to all the fields, which happens behind the scenes, that get captured as activity types. So this is also another valuable tool for customers to see what is syncing, how often it's been syncing. And as Ajay mentioned, if you wanted to optimize your integrations, you can control the frequency. Do we need to have it sync every day, maybe once a week, or this field is no longer needed? There's no business value to sync this field? So you can look at those dashboards, and you can go back and turn them on or off and control them through your activity usage. So this is a valuable tool to have. Normally in the past, a lot of customers would call and say, what is my usage? How much product usage do I have? What are my limits? So these are all very helpful for customers to see themselves and self-manage and self-service. So this is also coming out sometime in August, September timeframe. You'll see that. And we are going to be building other usage dashboards as well. So like API usage, campaign usage, those kind of things. So yeah, how much, what do you call it? So yeah, those are the things right now. Like APIs related to specific types. Like if you want to do exports or imports, those are also helpful. And those are some of the metrics that we'll be providing through dashboards. So next slide. So one of the things that we are working on right now, and I'm sure you probably have seen my message on user groups, is that we are rebuilding the CRM background sync. So what this is the background sync that runs every day that you schedule, or any kind of updates that the Murray called mentioned. Those are going to be synced through included in the sync. And we've also done the async process queue as well, which is the trigger campaign sync. So when there's a flow action, that send to SFTC, those kind of things. So we're also modifying that because those are more synchronous calls that call immediate updates. So some customers choose to do mass amounts of trigger updates, which cause immediate backlog. So that's basically the functionality that we're delivering. The reason why we're doing this is, as you know, that the CRM connector background sync is it's old. It needs to be rewritten. It needed a newer technology. It's more cloud-based. It's faster. It's more efficient in terms of sync errors. So one of the use cases where these sync failures occur is through Salesforce platform limitations. So, for example, if you are sending mass amounts of updates to a particular record, multiple updates, Salesforce creates row locks so that you can perform the updates, and then it'll unlock the record when the update is complete. So when you have multiple updates happening, the subsequent records that are in line or queued up will fail, called sync failures. So that is one use case that we're handling. And because of the mass updates, Salesforce has a platform limitation called CPU timeout. So for example, if you're doing mass updates and it gives you a small window, a few seconds, I believe it's 10 seconds to perform from that update. If it doesn't happen, then it'll trigger that message. So these are all part of Salesforce's governance tools. We have worked, the new technology allows you to work around some of those by reducing the amount of batch sizes, also increasing the wait times for the retry logic. So some of these key features will help with your reduce the sync performance related to Salesforce errors and limitations on the platform side. So yeah, we totally understand that people need to see sync updates, get quick data updates to in the hands of sales reps to perform follow-on activities for marketing efforts and for sales to support sales. So that is one of the things that we're trying to accommodate as well is to how we can improve those and reduce those sync failures. So as you can see, this is a bidirectional sync that is going to allow for faster speed. Some of the numbers in terms of performance we've seen is up to 2x, maybe in 3x, depending on how your sync or integration is set up. So that is some of the expected kind of increases that you'll probably see. Let's see, the other features that we're looking at is we're working on improving the dashboards, which this is the first iteration, which Marie kind of walked you through as well. We'll look at what improvements we can make, longer display times or data capture times to go past the 5-minute window. Also, retry logic, as mentioned, is 5 minutes as a default, but it can be adjustable to reduce it to 2 or 3 minutes if you need to. As mentioned, we talked about the batches. We've got a cloud-based integration it's newer code, it's newer technology. It'll improve your reliability, and one of the main goals is to improve the speed of which it is happening. The whole process is basically the control of the speed is changing. So some of you have heard about like multi-batch queues, which are basically pipelines. Those are now replaced through a newer technology, through different pipelines, which is more scalable. We can make those adjustments on the fly to scale upwards or scale down, or depending on the usage. And it'll also support performance tier numbers for customers who are on a higher level package, who are doing more hourly throughput bi-directionally. So if you want to scale up and if you want to do more and do move things faster, you're doing higher volume, you want on a consistent basis, then you can that can be scaled up through support calls and through higher level packages as well. See other things. Let's see. So automatic upgrade was formed by Adobe's marketing engine, no admin action required for production upgrade. So yeah, I'm not sure what that is. So all this is okay. So this is going to the upgrade is going to happen to everybody's instance who has Salesforce enabled. This is going to be behind the scenes. Customers will not have to do anything. It's just something that engineering will turn or switch the API to, and it'll happen. Customers will receive 3 app notifications 2 weeks prior to their time, their scheduled rollout phase. We are doing a rollout phase because we cannot turn everybody's instance on at the same time without managing all the other monitoring capabilities and things like that. So we have chosen to do this through the rollout phase, which will start in May, um, early May timeframe, and by the time we're said and done, it should be July timeframe when everybody is upgraded. And this is basically an upgrade that is done to every customer to a higher level. We're not going to allow or enable older and newer customers, like older versions happening at the same time. And we want to um, push the new upgrade to everybody. It will happen one time, and we will monitor and we will notify people. And there, as mentioned, yeah, it's a one-time move up forward. We don't want to manage 2 different levels, and because they're 2 different technologies, we believe that this is a valuable upgrade. It's well needed, and customers will benefit greatly from it. And right now, we are currently upgrading sandboxes. So if you want to be involved, and some of our folks are beta testing this, which is great. If you want to be involved, let us know. If you need to get your sandbox upgraded, or you'd like to have it upgraded as well, you're more than welcome to do that. Just let us know. Next slide. Let's see what else do you have. So multi CRM syncing, good point. Yeah, so yeah, that still stays the same. The single CRM integration is our foundational model. I know some of the customers do have multi CRM. That's something that we discussed, but that's a major foundational change. So for now, we'll continue to do that. Enhanced duplicate management, request improvements are not included. So yeah, some of the things I know duplicate management is one of the key issues. That in this particular upgrade is mostly a technology upgrade. So there's no additional features that we're doing or we're building out that handles other issues like duplicates or other data issues related to failures, other new features. As mentioned, there is improved sync failures. We're anticipating because of the Salesforce platform limitations that we're working on. But we're not doing any new functionality to handle that. We are discussing that. As I saw in the chat about some of the sync challenges, we are looking at that. Right now, our main focus is in just getting this upgrade out for Salesforce Sync upgrade. That's primary for us. The other we'll also see if we can manage some short to midterm or some immediate high impact, low complexity sync failure features. We also want to also look at Microsoft Dynamics as the next CRM. Sorry, as the next CRM sync, and also the Bootstrap sync. The Bootstrap sync is basically when you're syncing for the first time. There's the initial sync, which will do set up the stage for the follow-on daily sync, background sync. So that is next on our plate. And in terms of roadmap items, that's also long overdue for rewrite and update. So that's some of the other things that we're working on. And as you mentioned, Murray demonstrated the backlog stats and the trending lines, trends and dashboards. we will try to improve that along the way and add functionality that was version one. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some time to improve those as well. And yeah, those are the things that will help you. Hopefully, those will, if you haven't used them already, those backlog reports, dashboards, please use them. They are very helpful. And as mentioned, this was previously done through support calls. Now it's a self-service, and we'll continue to build more self-service dashboards, as I talked about through the activity usage dashboard and other dashboards along the way, API usage, campaign backlog as well down the line in the future. Anything
This
else?
is all This is all great, Arthur. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help in explaining what all is coming in the future. And yes, it is really exciting. And with that, we are open to question and answer session. So, do we have any questions here?
I'm checking the chat to see if there's any other questions that weren't answered. I know, Arthur, you answered a lot of these, right? So thank you for that.
No problem. So one of the things while we have you guys on the call, one of the common questions we have is, what are we doing to manage duplicates? We have a merge tool. We are conceptually discussing a mass dedupe tool that will handle duplicates. So in Marketo, a record is identified as, the unique identifier is a CRM ID. So if you have a lead that has a CRM ID and you have a contact that has a different CRM ID, even though they share the same email, Marketo considers them as two different records. Or if you have CRM ID and from your Salesforce and a same lead with another CRM ID, Marketo thinks that you want to keep them separate. So the idea is to manage, the best practice is to manage duplicates within the source system, within CRM. CRM has capabilities to enforce email uniqueness. Um, some of the customers have a use case not to enforce uniqueness, which is fine. But when you have a lead and a contact with the same email ID, Marketo assumes that you want to keep them separate for some reason. So that is something that we as a best practice we try to instill, is that do your best to manage them in the source system, enforce email uniqueness when and where possible. If not, then that's understood. There is a unique merge, one-to-one merge tool available in the database side, and we are looking at conceptually improving that to handle mass duplications as well, which we are exploring the complexities of when you dedupe a record in large quantities and then update back into Salesforce. Do you want those dedupes to happen? Do you not want them to happen? To what point do they need to happen? So all of those things are being looked at, but the best practice for now is um, manage them in your source system as much as you can.
Awesome. And I believe we don't have any questions. So, and yeah, we are on time as well. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. And it was always great to see you all. And it is encouraging to see such a large audience. And yeah, we appreciate your presence here. And thanks to Mirai, Author, and Maria for your help.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.